What is your life worth? Not philosophically, but in actual dollars. Funny question? It sounds funny to ask, but we're living in a pandemic and some people worry about a cure that's costlier than the problem. So, how do we calculate life's worth? Would you be surprised to know that governments already have? Businesses have also done the math. They call it VSL, Value of Statistical Life. The United States EPA has required calculations on potential public health liabilities and mortality rates versus impact on business revenues since the Reagan presidency. Airlines have calculated what is affordable to invest in safety and have factored in incredibly complex math based on facts like fear of plane crashes being more prevalent than fear of automobile accidents, and psychological studies on how long the memory of a major plane crash affects ticket sales. Does that sound cold? Harsh? As it turns out, we all do it as well in our daily lives. You spend more or less on foods that you believe are better for your health and decide when the price is or isn't worth it. When you decide to buy a bike helmet, you might compare different models and weigh the price against how much safer one really might be than another based on their safety and impact ratings. You're actually formulating and deciding what it's worth to pay to protect your health based on what you believe the odds of an accident might actually be. You do the same when you decide on an optional airbag and safety features when purchasing a car, or when you decide if it's worth it to you to spend more to live in the safest neighborhood in town or pay less to get a better deal in a more exciting area. In fact, research has shown, and accident reports prove, pedestrians take bigger chances crossing streets when they realize their parking meter is running out of time. There is one more way to look at this. People in higher risk jobs are generally compensated at a higher rate of pay. We're not talking about CEOs versus factory workers within the same company. What we're talking about is similar job duties but performed under different conditions of potential risk. Say, someone who washes windows for an office building at ground level as opposed to one who is suspended hundreds of feet in the air cleaning the same windows but 40 stories up. Or a jet pilot who flies commercial routes versus a pilot who is a test pilot flying experimental aircraft. A janitor who cleans an office building as opposed to a janitor who cleans the inside of a nuclear reactor. Or, these days, maybe a janitor in a hospital. Of course, some people live with circumstances that means they don't have as many options or choices as others might, but what is consistently true is that the factors of risk are indeed being calculated by you and by the institutions around you. So why does this matter now? Well, it matters because we're living through a pandemic, and money is being lost, and money is being spent, and money is being talked about as a potential solution. So how much gets spent? How much can be lost? And when is it too much? Companies and governments had established VSL for many scenarios, but not for this one. We have pundits on one side saying there's no price too high to save even a single life, and pundits on the other suggesting a prolonged economic slowdown is a bigger threat to all of us than any damage the virus might do to a small group of people. As much work as economists and psychologists and mathematicians have done to determine helpful numbers, we're now faced with the troubling reality that the worth of life might not be something we can calculate under any previously formulated framework for VSL. The value of life might actually be an entirely and purely philosophical question.